And he was talking about how the Dodger dog is gross.
Yeah.
I had literally just gone to a Dodger game. And I'm not like, I think I don't understand the Dodger dog of it all.
Yeah.
But I had one and it was pretty good.
Oh, you had 9 tall boys.
Man of the year, man of the year, man of the year.
Welcome to the #1 friendship podcast in the country. I'm Matt Ritter.
I'm Aaron Karo.
We have an awesome episode this week, and we have a huge guest, Phil Rosenthal, the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond. Somebody feed Phil. We're talking food and friendship, Karo.
Starving.
I was just thinking about the funniest food-related friendship story that I have for the two of us.
Okay.
I feel like you remember this one very well.
I'll chime in when I hear it.
So it started at about 1:45 in the morning.
Oh no, I know exactly.
Yeah,
Sundance.
Yeah. What?
Sundance?
No. West Hollywood. For me, this is my funniest food-related friendship story. I feel like, when you're in your 20s and you're out late night, like eating tacos, it's just like the best. You're like post night recap. Like that's the most fun when you're younger. And then when you get in your 30s, like it's just harder to like even survive the next day. But like I was in a relationship early on, but I was living with my now wife, and Aaron and I had just left this bar on Santa Monica Boulevard, and we had this late night place. Was it called Dos Tacos or Los Tacos?
It's called Los Tacos. It's still there, but we call it Dos Tacos.
We call it Dos Tacos.
Yeah.
And it was just the shit show of all shit shows.
But it's really good.
Really, really good. And it's one of those, like, you get the tacos and it has all the little accoutrements.
Cash only.
And I love the little accoutrements that they have, the little like sauce. They have like all the different sauces, like you fill up on the sauces, and really cheap. And so Aaron and I, we would usually just go there.
Oh, now I remember.
Yeah, and just like crush the food.
Yeah.
And it was like our late night bonding. But for whatever reason, Karo was just like, I want to go home. I want to take it to go. And I just couldn't express to him how much I knew that if I took it home, I would not get to eat these tacos. And he just was, we were both wasted, but you didn't believe me. You're like, there's no, what do you even mean? And I was like, if I take these tacos to my house, I will not get to eat them. And this, like, I feel like already like all the married guys on this listeners know where this is going. So he was like, I don't care. We're going home. Like you're lying. So we had to wrap him up. And I took him home, and sure enough, exactly what I didn't want to happen happened, which was I was in one of those fat stages of my weight roller coaster, and my wife was like trying to keep me healthy. And so I walk in, it's like 2:30, and I've got the bag of tacos, and I tiptoe in, and I just slide the door, and it's creaking, and she's dead asleep on the couch waiting up for me. So I'm like, I put the tacos on the counter and I unravel the brown bag. And like all of a sudden she goes, what the fuck are those? Like from a dead sleep. I was like, just go back to sleep. Just go back to sleep. She's like, are those tacos? Did you just get tacos with Karo? I'm like, no. She goes, throw them out. I'm like, just go back to bed. She goes, I'll go back to bed when you throw them out. So I open the garbage can and I place them gently on the top of the garbage. And then I just have a stare down with her until she closes her eyes. And then I slide down under the kitchen island and I just press the little button with my hand to pop open the garbage. And I reach up with my hand and I grab the bag. And I've just uncrinkled the bag and I'm about to take a bite. And she goes, did you just fucking take tacos out of the garbage? She makes me walk down to the garbage chute and dump them in the garbage chute.
God.
Anyway, I just remember for me, that's just like a vivid, really funny friendship and food moment, that I'll never forget. Cause like that was our spot, and I feel like that was like one of the last times we really ever had a moment there.
I miss those tacos. It's still there.
I miss it too. Should we go tonight?
We should go.
Yeah.
Cash only.
I can't bring it home.
Yeah.
So I'll have to eat it out.
Yeah. So let's talk about food today before we get to the Phil interview. Food is such an important part of friendship, such an important part of our lives, obviously. There's some pitfalls, there's some opportunities. Now, you are a dinner party guy. That's like your move. You like to have people over. You like to socialize. And I know you have a lot of picadillos when it comes to having people over to eat.
So big one for us is I like to keep it light and fun. The biggest thing is like I like to have like an appetizer non-seated round.
Mm-hmm.
So people are circulating.
Okay.
Because I feel like once people sit down, they start to get into a little bit of like formal mode and it becomes less of a sort of group fun, friendly dynamic. So I always like to just make sure that like if there are people that don't know each other well, like get everybody circulating first. You know, and I think that's part of why I like having a dinner party versus going out to dinner. Because for me, it's like all about the conversation and I feel like just once you're seated at dinner, wherever you're seated and it's hard to rotate. My one big picadillo is rotating because we have a long rectangular table.
Okay.
So Jesse and I, we like to switch sides.
So peccadillo is rotating, but I think a peccadillo is something that you don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't like when people are stuck in the same seat.
Got it.
I like to make sure that they are not stuck the whole time in that seat. So I like to get people moving around.
So I'm usually middling.
Yeah. You're a good middler.
It's funny. I just was reminded I was invited to a cocktail party, my friend Mayada, and it was big. I mean, it was like 30 people. It was a party, and I was dead center. I was like, this is a big table in the middle, but I did it.
Dead center.
Like Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, social pressure.
But I like it.
Yeah. We love that. But most people are like, I want to put me in the corner. You know what I just you know what I just thought of that I forgot to bring up to you? So we recently took our buddy Jeff out for his birthday. Yep.
Dan Tana's, which is now everybody's favorite restaurant. And of course we paid for him. And we were doing the multiple credit card thing, if you remember this. And the waiter was like, yeah, too many. It was only like 3 credit cards. And he like made you take out cash.
Yeah.
And give me and Fireball Adam cash. And then me and Fireball Adam use our credit cards. Right. But you had hundreds.
Yeah.
So I've been carrying 100 in my wallet ever since then. What am I do with this $100?
It's very hard to break. You got to get rid of them. I pawned it off on you.
I know.
I pawned the hundo.
I know. And everyone was drunk and everyone was like, hey. And I was like, I spotted it. I was like, I don't want this 100.
Well, you know what I was thinking about? And the reason that you were like, why do you have 100? So his is interesting. Because I'll show for the YouTube, I'm a high risk guy.
Yeah.
I put all my cards in this phone. So it's like lose everything. I don't want to walk around with a bunch of 20s.
Right.
So keep it thin.
Right.
But then I also realized the second I took out the hundos, I'm like, how do I get rid of these things? You can't, nobody even wants cash. And if they want cash, they definitely don't want hundos. So the second I had taken it out that day, the second you were like, oh, what do you, I'm like, you're like, what are you doing with all those hundos? I'm like, pawning them off on you.
The funny thing is,
pawning them.
I then went to the Dodger game and I'm like, oh, this is a great place to use a hundo because those tall boys are like $18 a piece. I got 3 tall boys and I take out the hundo. I'm like, and he goes,
please.
Cashless.
Yeah. Oh,
cashless.
Dodger Stadium is cashless now?
Cashless, yeah.
First of all, can we talk about how expensive tall boys are?
You mean at a game?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
$18 for one light beer tall boy.
But then I was thinking about it. That's 2 beers. So they're $9 a piece.
Oh, I'm wasted by the time I'm finished.
Right. But so it's actually not that bad.
I know. But when you get around, we were talking about like
rounding.
Because first of all, you get the first round of tall boys. You're not getting 3 tall boys.
It's funny.
You didn't get that 3rd tall boy.
Matt, you're going to appreciate this. So there's 3 of us. It was me, Evan, and Jeff. And then Jeff's brother happened to be at the Dodger game, not with us. So he popped in, we're like hanging out, and it was my round. And I'm like, John, you want one? And he had a full drink. He's like, yeah, I'll take a tall boy.
You already had a full drink.
So I got that.
Shout out to John.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
He's the best.
He's everywhere. Anywhere you are that's fun.
Yeah.
He's just already there.
Yeah. So that four tall boys was basically, that would have been my $100.
That's over 100.
I know. And, but he wouldn't take it. No, it's cashless.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was going to say about dinner party stuff. The one thing that, unrelated, the one thing that I like to do, we like to ask questions. Like sometimes like holidays, it's like, what are you thankful for? But sometimes we just come up with like a fun topic.
Yeah.
Like tell us a funny story that happened with your kid or your dad. Tell us something about your dad. Something that like gets you to know people better. I like that. That's my one little hack tip for making a dinner party feel like engaging.
I was recently at a dinner party where they did that. I think it might have been Esther Perel, like has some sort of like card game or something that you could whatever.
Is it Esther?
I think we've talked about this. I don't think it's Esther. I think it's Esther.
Yeah, but I think everybody thinks it's Esther.
Theo will look
yeah,
it
he'll
up.
have to look that up. I'm not going to start doing that.
Yeah.
I won't do that.
So this question actually stumped me. And I didn't know the answer for 2 months. The question was...
Oh boy, here we go. Hold on.
And everyone play at home.
Play along.
When was the last time you learned something new about yourself?
I just had a baby this 7 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
It was an easy one for me.
I finally figured it out. It took months later, and it was because for this thing I was doing, I had to take like a Myers-Briggs, fucking
For what?
It's for my Israel trip.
Oh.
It's called Strength Finder. It's not Myers-Briggs. It's Gallup Strength Finder.
What is your thing? Like, isn't there like a thing that you are, like a type?
It gives you 5 types. And the first 4 were shit that you would know. Competitive, disciplined, achiever, strategic. And the last one was the one that I learned was woo. So what do you think woo is?
Like a cheerleader. Woo?
Right.
Promoter.
So this was
pump up.
So it's winning people over, wooing them.
Oh, wooing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wooing. So that was my strength. And of course, we know that I have that, but I never thought about it.
Do you think, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
While you're taking the test, don't you feel like, oh, I'm gaming the system?
This test is so fucking bizarre. I can't even explain it to you. They pick 2 things on opposite ends, and you pick all the way 1, all the way 5 are in the middle. But they don't make any sense, Matt. It's like, do you do well in groups? Is your favorite condiment mustard? Like they must have like figured out a way. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it's like, do you like public speaking? Like, are you frugal? Like, what does that have to do with it? So they must have had some psychoanalysis.
Now I want to take one. We should take one next time.
Let's do it
on air.
Yeah,
we should take a Myers-Briggs.
Yeah,
with our audience.
Yeah, I mean, this is strengths, but yeah, we should do that. I think we should talk to Phil. We should get to Phil.
Yeah, because nobody wants to hear from us.
Well, that's not true. They like us.
They like us.
They're tuning us.
But they're obviously more interested in Phil.
So Phil Rosenthal is one of our idols. He created Everybody Loves Raymond, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. He's now the host and star of Somebody Feed Phil.
You could say he's like replaced Bourdain in the zeitgeist. He plays that role of like, I want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
And we're getting to.
He's so funny. And Matt, I have to give you props. You tracked him down. You asked him
Stalked him in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And you found him and he agreed.
Yeah.
He agreed to talk to us.
And nothing like the cruel acceptance of a casual invitation, Phil.
So enjoy the interview.
Phil, thank you so much for being here with us.
Phil, yes. So excited.
You guys, I love the story of your friendship and the Peter Lugers connection. I mean, we have that in common at the very least. Maybe one day I'll be invited to do Peter Lugers with you.
I'll throw that in, right? I'll wreck our entire 9 friend person. If I'm like, guys, I'm bringing a stranger, they would be like, friendship over. But I think if it was you,
there are people out there who don't like Peter Lugers, and I don't understand them.
You know what? We've had this I love your insight into this. So I forget the food critic's name who wrote that slanderous review.
It was Pete Wells, and I thought it was especially, first of all, nasty in tone, and inaccurate.
Well, he missed the mark, I think, from the big picture of why you even go.
It seemed like a purposeful takedown.
Of
a beloved.
But I think he doesn't.
Yes.
I don't think he gets the belovedness and the institution part of it and the tradition. Like our whole podcast is about traditions,
Yes.
And first and foremost, honestly, we've been going for 20 years. Half the time, I don't even remember the actual eating of the meal because we're having such a good time.
Yes,
and I think
that's part of it. But also, I have to say, it's my favorite steakhouse. I love the food. I love every single thing they do. I put it in the show. It's in the New York episode. It's the first scene. And I bring Nancy Silverton and Massimo Bottura, who's arguably one of the best chefs, if not the best chef in the world, and he loves it. So it's not just me.
So if it's good enough for them,
yes,
right. If it's good enough for them and us.
By the way, he turned me on to something in that episode that you should know about. I don't know if you know this when you go, because why would you think of this going to the steakhouse? But the lamb chops are unbelievable. I want you to try them. Just in addition to the steak. I wouldn't take out anything else. But everyone can have a lamb chop, a small, it's a couple bites.
Yeah,
but it's phenomenal.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's funny. That gets into what we were going to ask you, Phil, because everyone in our group has a specific task. Everyone in our friend group has a specific role.
Yes.
And there's one guy, Brian, he's the orderer. We don't even look at a menu. We're not even allowed to look at a menu. He takes care of it. So we didn't even know a lamb chop was even.
Yeah, I'm in our group. I am the friend of pleasure. I'm the good time Charlie. Aaron has his own role. He's the organizer, the parliamentarian, the planner. What are you in your friend group? What is your role?
I am the complainer.
I'm guessing it's foodie. Oh,
No, I'm
complainer.
kidding. No,
You
I'm
and
kidding.
Karo
I'm
would have
kidding.
a lot in common.
But just because I'm Jewish, that's what we do. But I guess I am the de facto orderer as well. And a lot of times my ordering is this: if it's a reputable place, a place that you know is going to be good because you've read everything and people have told you, and that I will say on first time in the restaurant, give me whatever you want. Give me whatever you want. And I asked the table, is everyone okay with that? Well, it might be a lot. I don't know if we can eat that much. I say, we're medium hungry, right? We're medium hungry. And that's usually more than enough. And I'm always happy. Always, because I do like everything. There's very few things I don't like.
You seem to be a very open person in general. I'm curious, what is your friend like? Because you must have met so many people from so many different worlds, TV, personal life.
Yes.
Now you're actually around the world traveling.
Yes.
Like, what is your friendship circle? I would love to know. Like, is it your childhood friend? Is it your Raymond friends? Is it like, what is your friends?
Well, I think we all have different circles, like multiple circles. So I literally have friends from when I'm 9 years old. I have one friend from birth, even, because our mothers were best friends. And so we grew up, as brothers. It's just, I love these separate circles. And then I love when I can make the Venn diagram of friends, right? And see who likes each other from the thing. Because I'm a transplant to LA from New York, when I got here in 1989, I continued a tradition that I had started when I was 15 years old, which was movie night. When I was 15, and there's a point to this, HBO reached my town, okay? And it was the first time you could see an uncensored, uninterrupted movie in your house. That's pre-VHS. You guys are maybe too young to know of a world without getting to watch what you wanted when you wanted to watch it and the way you wanted to watch it. There was no way to get an uncensored, uncut movie in your home unless you were a Hollywood person with a projectionist in their house, okay? There was no VHS. There was no streaming. There was nothing. So HBO comes along. Now we can see an R-rated movie every Saturday night. So now I call my other idiot junior high friends and say, come over. What are you watching? It doesn't matter. We're going to see stuff.
Do you remember the early ones? Some of the early movies?
I don't know why this is popping into my head, but a movie called W.C. Fields and Me. It was Rod Steiger playing W.C. Fields, but it was obviously not a sexy movie in any way. That's just the first. I'm trying to remember, and I would order pizza, and then I that continued all through high school, and then I went to college and I ran the film department. We're getting movies for the campus from the movie studios to watch, because there still wasn't VHS in the late 70s, early 80s. And then I did that. So I was always having a kind of a bigger movie night. And then movie night continued in New York City when I moved into the city. Now we did have VHS, and it was always a movie and pizza. And then I moved to Hollywood in 89, and I got a job as a writer. And now the TV could be a little bigger, and I could fit more people in the house until I have what I have now, which is a dedicated screening room and movies the day they're released, because I got permission from all the studios as a courtesy. It's called the Bel Air Circuit, and this is a thing.
Wow.
And because I knew I would continue doing this, and I actually picked this house to live in because I could do this in it, meaning it needed some work anyway. I put a pizza oven in the kitchen. a wood-burning pizza oven. So the pizza has been elevated, the movies have been elevated, the whole experience has been elevated. And the reason I did this in LA when I came was to have this friend group, to have friends in a new land where I didn't have friends. And now, I have a list 200 people long, and I kind of mix and match friends this way.
I love it.
Just did it last night. So every weekend that I'm in town, I do this.
I have so many follow-up
Yeah, sure.
questions. But I actually wanted to stop you on the list
Yes.
because that's actually something we talk about in the podcast. We call it our social universe, which is taking stock, taking inventory of your friends.
Yes.
I actually have a spreadsheet that Matt mocks me for.
Wow.
So when it's my birthday, which is next week, I will know who to invite, who I've spoken to, I haven't spoken to.
No, I don't do that. I just started, from my address book, let's say, I started just picking friends that I wanted to invite to movie night. And when I had like 50, I started another list. And when I had 50 more, I started another. So I have a 4 or 5 movie night lists. And they're in no particular order. But sometimes I'll just take list number 2 and list number 4. Or list number 1. And even if I'm inviting 100 people, maybe 20 can make it.
What I love about this is, so we talk about on the podcast, and one of our number one things is be the friend. And it seems like you realized early on, if you are the friend, if you are the place where people will come, you're never going to be short of friends. And I would argue that you're also the host as a role of, in the friend group, it sounds like you play host very frequently. And that has also sort of now dovetailed into what you're doing now. It seems like you've been thoughtful about your friendship since an early age.
Well, and now I'm a professional host as well. So
Yeah.
It is in my personality, I guess. I love having people over. I do.
Yeah.
I love going out with my friends. I love going out to eat with my friends. It's the most social thing you can do. And you guys get it because you have your Peter Luger's nights.
I wanted to ask about food specifically with regards to friendship.
Yes.
Like, you go out to dinner with somebody, you have a good time. I think you obviously have hit on the idea that breaking bread with somebody is this really great relationship building thing. But how do you kind of convert somebody from a dining companion to an actual friend? I mean, I imagine you have a lot of like dining friends, but were they all real friends first, or have you converted some of your sort of like dining friend universe into real friends?
It's funny that I don't differentiate the two. My dining friends are my real friends. I say this, food is the great connector, and then laughs are the cement. So I'm in a position where I get to meet new people around the world over food. And I realize very quickly, we all got to eat, and we all like to eat. And so when the food comes, we're already doing something that we have in common as human beings. And then when it's good, now we're happy. And if we share a laugh, now we're friends. And we might eat again. That's what I do with my friends, is eat. I wouldn't have you over and not have a cookie for you. You got to have something. We meet for coffee. We meet for lunch. We meet for breakfast or dinner. That's it for me. That's what friendship is to me. And my enemy in all this is the loud restaurant. If it's too loud, it's now defeated the purpose of why I'm going. Yes, I like to eat. Nobody likes to eat more than me. But even more than that is the conversation that we have over the food. I'm not there to hear your playlist. I'm here to talk to my friends that I came with.
I have a dinner party question.
Yes.
We kind of suggest people switching, like moving around. Like, do you kind of make sure you get people moving? Because like I find that to be annoying when I go out to a long table, 12 people, and I only talk to the person next to me.
I should do that, but I don't. I usually like whoever I'm sitting with, and I realize that that's my. Oh, there's a rule. Did you know about this? There's an etiquette rule. When you're going out for dinner, never more than 6, because 6 is the maximum number that can be engaged in the single conversation. Did you know that? I didn't know that, but I realized that's true. When you're more than 6, now you're definitely splitting off into separate conversations. By the way, I'm fine with it, unless there's somebody that I really, miss and want to talk to, but then I'll make sure that I do. And I truly believe that our sense of taste is connected to our emotions, and all our other senses, which is the only explanation for the Dodger dog.
Right. Those those formative
There's
years.
no,
Right?
because it is a terrible item. And I've talked about this a lot, but it is a limp bologna thing, skinless. It's a horrible. It has nothing that you like about a hot dog. And why do people love it? Because Daddy took me to the game when I was 6, and that's what we had. There is no other reason. You ever travel and you have like some wine, let's say in Italy, and you go, this is the best wine I ever had. We got to buy a case. Let's buy a case. And you buy a case and you get it home. Special occasion. Hey, let's have that wine from Italy. And you decant it and you pour it and you taste it and you go, it's all right. Why? Because you're not in Italy anymore. And you're not with the person and you're not feeling the feelings that you had at that moment, which was probably the best time of your life, right? That's all. It's all connected, all this stuff. And it goes right to the heart of what you guys are all about, which is your friend group at the same restaurant every year, with your ceremony, with everything, which makes that place your favorite.
I'm just curious what Crafty was like on Everybody Loves
Best
Raymond.
in the world.
Like, was that very
best in the world?
And did you personally,
yes. I spent as much time on that as I did the scripts. I'd been on shows where it wasn't important. And if you just have like chips and candy on the craft service table, I saw that people like me would go over and grab it. And you're always a little disappointed, but at least it's something. And you just go about the rest of your day. But I had this fantasy. What if on the craft service table were homemade soups and sandwiches, and once in a while you bring in stuff from another city and lay it out there for people, like, the cinnamon buns from Ann Sather's in Chicago, or have food trucks backstage on show night before food trucks were even a big thing, and bring in chefs and make tacos, backstage. Or once a year, we would fly in Joe's stone crabs from Florida and cover the writer's room table with newspaper and get hammers from the set shop and go to town on the crabs. Not every day, but once.
I love doing that.
I've been on shows where we actually got this memo. I was working for someone else on their hit show. It was a big show, a hit show. And this memo went around. We noticed, this is my hand to God, I remember it verbatim because it does the impact it had on me. Now remember, hit show, 100 people working in the office building of this show. We noticed some of you are putting milk on your cereal when you come in the morning. The milk is for coffee. The cereal is for snacking. We do not provide breakfast for you. Please do not put milk on your cereal. Signed, biggest showrunner in town. Okay? And I'm like,
that's amazing.
If I'm ever lucky enough to have my own show, we're going to have milk on our cereal. And we did. And we had the best craft services in town. You can ask anybody. Why? Because it's important. How do you show people that you care about them? First, be nice. That's the number one rule. 2, hopefully good work and a fair living wage. 3, food. Food says, I care about you. I want you to not just have an okay time, I want you to have a great time. But food was a major part of the show. In fact, I would say the entire power structure dynamic of the family was built on food. And because Marie was an amazing cook and Deborah was not, she ran the whole thing.
Yeah.
She was the arch villain of the show because she had this superpower, right? That everyone was subservient to. She could get the toughest guy in the world, Frank, Peter Boyle, to become a little kid if she withheld food. Not sex, food.
The reason we had you on was that it seems that even above, your expertise as a television creator and your expertise as a, food connoisseur, it seems like at the center of your life, has been relationships,
Yes.
and you've managed to really do a great job
Yes.
of navigating
I hate to
those
admit
all
this,
the way
but it's
through your
even
life.
more important than the food.
What would you give advice to somebody on sort of the keys to sort of maintaining or rebuilding, or just creating an atmosphere for lifelong sustained friendship?
Send a text once in a while. Say, how you doing? It's as simple as that. That's it. It's very easy to lose touch with people. God knows, with all the friends I have, I know I've lost touch with people because it is hard to keep up with everybody. But the people you care about, it doesn't matter that they haven't written you in a while. We're not keeping score. If you care about the person, text them, how you doing? Lunch sometime? Yes. I just did it today. Somebody that I miss and I wanted to see. That's all. They pop in your head, right, how you doing? Or, you know what I love doing? I see let's say we all look at Instagram and videos and whatnot. I see something funny. It usually reminds me of someone who would laugh the same way I would laugh at that thing, and I send that to them. Right? Or a group. Like the writers on Raymond, we're on a group text. And whenever anyone has a funny idea or sees something funny, we send it and it sparks like hilarious, inappropriate texting.
Phil, thank you so much.
Really, really incredible. Great stories.
It's my pleasure.
So that was incredible because, as we said, when we booked him, we're like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I wonder if he's going to have like some interesting takes on friendship. Like, we just kind of like thought he would because he just seems like the kind of guy.
Yeah.
The Bel Air movie tradition.
Yeah.
It's one of the best friend traditions I've ever heard of.
Movie night. I mean, I guess it's easy to have people over to watch movies when they're not even out yet.
No,
Such a Karo line.
I know. I'm gonna go against that and say it's hard to get people to do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
He's cultivated a really amazing thing.
I guess another way, a more optimistic way to say it was like, he doesn't have to have fucking movie night.
He doesn't have to do any of this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We say, be the friend. Phil epitomizes that.
Yeah. One thing I didn't bring up was that I loved how he talked about how you love food that you had as a child, brings back memories. Yeah. And he was talking about how the Dodger dog is gross.
Yeah.
I had literally just gone to a Dodger game. And I'm not like, I think I don't understand the Dodger dog of it all.
Yeah.
But I had one and it was pretty good.
Oh, you had 9 tall boys. Like you start thinking weird things.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. Yep.
You're like, oh my God, is this a gourmet Dodger dog?
Yeah.
Get freaking Pete Wells here. Get Pete Wells here. I love that he defended Luger's honor.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. I also had some interesting thoughts on that. He said it's his favorite steakhouse in the world. I mean, I don't think he did. Do we think that?
I don't know. I'm no comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he took Nancy Silverton there.
Who was that again?
She's huge restaurateur.
Oh, yeah. But Phil was great. It definitely gave me a lot of food for thought.
Ooh. Do you think we will ever be at that movie night?
So we did email him, and I'm going to say this is something that we're going to take out. I think yes.
I think so. I mean, I know I will be.
He seems like
I know I will.
What, you think he'll email you and not me?
No, I think I'll just see him in the neighborhood and we'll cement our bond.
Oh, and you're going to come without me. Yeah.
I'll let him know that maybe I'll email you afterwards.
I will be
I'll
upset.
email you after the first one and go, hey, I'll see if I can get you in.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get you into the next one.
So what did we learn today?
I mean, we know that friendship and food, food is integral to friendship. I'd say, For me, it reinforced listening to Phil reinforced like the decision that my wife and I have made to become regular dinner party hosts. I'm like, oh my God, we're starting our own kind of traditions of using food to unite people. I think you learn a lot about people through food too. Like you take somebody to a favorite restaurant. That's basically your way of saying like, I care about you. I want to show you this thing. I think that's a great hack/tip.
I mean, we talk about the different levels up of a friendship when you meet their parents, when you take them to your favorite restaurant. It's a very intimate thing.
We didn't like talk about that this whole episode, but I do think if you're like, hey, I have a friend that I have been out with a few times, like take them to your favorite spot.
Yeah.
Like it's not just about the food. That's about you communicating like, I care about you. I'm putting you in the new category of like people that get to see my go-to spot, get to see the real me.
And if you're going to be splitting the check, maybe have smaller bills.
Yeah, and if you have hundos, pawn those suckers off.
All right, let's go to Theo, see if we got anything wrong. This is Erroneous with Thelonious.
Yeah, so the pronunciation here is going to be Esther.
Like
Perel.
A normal Esther.
Esther.
Right,
Esther.
so Karo goes, a star?
No.
He goes, a star?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
what
think
were you saying?
I don't think this
What
is
was,
pronounced.
what was his weird...
Esther?
Yeah, what was his
Esther?
weird effective...
No.
Esther.
Karo.
No. Erroneous with Thelonious
Yeah.
is...
All of a sudden...
Oh, now he pronounced my name wrong, too.
Yeah, next time he's going to be like, my name is Aaron.
Hold on.
Aaron.
Hold
He
on.
is Belgian,
Esther
so
Perel.
maybe he's trying to put on a little Belgian accent.
Hold on. Hold on, here you go.
Esther Perel.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our show. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see our merch, which we're wearing now. Go to bonfire.com/Man of the Year podcast and pick up that merch. Be good to yourself. Be good to your friends. Love you, buddy.